Look up! Police! A little farther, bro. A little more. Okay, good, you're good. We're good! Go. Police! Man up, don't move! Watch out.
Before sunrise, agents stormed a quiet Louisiana neighborhood, and what they found shocked even Trump himself. At first, it looked like another early morning police raid, the kind that happens quietly in America's small towns every week. But this was the FBI, and inside that small, single-story home, agents say they found a man accused of joining one of the bloodiest attacks of the 21st century, the October 7th Hamas assault on Israel.
Fox News alert the FBI arresting an alleged October 7th attacker living in Louisiana. Federal prosecutors say the 33-year-old man took part in the Hamas attack on Israel.
His name is Mahmoud Amin Yaqub al-Muhtadi, a 33-year-old Palestinian who, according to the FBI, crossed into Israel during the attack, then months later entered the United States on a green card he was never supposed to have. To anyone watching, it might have looked like an immigration case or a foreign terrorism arrest, but investigators say this one was different.
It also includes a transcript of a phone call in which al-Muhtadi allegedly tells another man, quote, "If things go the way they should, Syria will take part, Lebanon will take part, and it's going to be a third world war."
They weren't just after a suspect. They were following an intelligence trail that stretched from Gaza to Louisiana. In this video, we're breaking down the raid, the man at the center of it, and the claims that set off headlines about a possible plot on U.S. soil. But most importantly, what did the FBI find inside that house? And what does it reveal about the reach of October 7th? It happened fast. 5:42 a.m., Lafayette, Louisiana. The neighborhood was still half asleep when a line of unmarked SUVs cut their engines outside a small single-story home on the city's south side.
It was scary because I've never had a gun put in my face.
According to a federal affidavit, the operation had been planned for weeks, coordinated between FBI counter-terror units, Homeland Security investigations, and the Joint Terrorism Task Force. Agents moved in under sealed warrants, citing credible intelligence connecting the suspect to the October 7th attacks in Israel. Witnesses later told local reporters they woke to a series of loud bangs. Moments later, agents breached the front door. Inside, they found Mahmoud Amin Yaqub al-Muhtadi, alone, awake, and reportedly cooperative. There were no shots fired, no struggle. By sunrise, neighbors stood behind police tape as federal agents carried sealed boxes and evidence bags from the property, electronics, documents, and a laptop wrapped in anti-static film.
There we go, guys.
Within hours, al-Muhtadi was booked into the American prison system. So who is Mahmoud Amin Yaqub al-Muhtadi? And how did a man accused of joining Hamas's October 7th attack end up living quietly in southern Louisiana?
Now, FBI agents say he's an operative for a Gaza-based military group that participated in the Hamas-led terrorist attack against Israel on October 7th, 2023.
Until the morning of his arrest, Mahmoud Amin Yaqub al-Muhtadi was just an immigrant working in Lafayette, Louisiana. Co-workers at a small Mediterranean restaurant say he was quiet, punctual, and always wore the same black cap. He rented a modest apartment off Ambassador Caffrey Parkway, paid in cash, and kept mostly to himself. But according to the FBI criminal complaint unsealed in federal court, the man neighbors knew as Mahmoud was not just another recent arrival. The real Mahmoud, they say, had deep ties to terrorist groups connected to Hamas.
Now, specifically, what these documents say is that that individual was part of a paramilitary group in Gaza at the time, so not actually a part of Hamas, but this separate group.
Sources say he was one of the main ringleaders, gathering the troops to destroy Israeli lives. Court documents detail how, on that morning, he allegedly armed himself, gathered several others, and crossed into southern Israel near Kibbutz Kfar Aza, one of the worst hit sites of the massacre.
They alleged he learned about the Hamas invasion, armed himself, gathered others, and crossed into Israel.
Cell tower data, investigators say, placed his phone inside Israel during the assault and intercepted calls, capturing him urging fighters to bring the rifles, that there is kidnapping and it's a game, which will be a good one.
The court papers accusing this man who was living in Louisiana, as you said, of helping carry out that Hamas-led attack on October 7th in Israel.
Al-Muhtadi had also reportedly received a social media message that read, "I see war," at 6:34 a.m., roughly after the attacks began, according to court documents. 2 minutes later, he received another text which read, "Hell opened its gates. It is very chaotic, and there will be no end this time. It will end in a good way." Yet after the massacre, Al-Muhtadi somehow slipped through every security filter. In June 2024, he applied for a U.S. visa at the embassy in Cairo, stating he planned to work in car repairs or food services. On paper, nothing stood out. No red flags, no criminal record. By September, he was allowed to enter the United States legally as a permanent resident, first settling in Tulsa, Oklahoma, before moving quietly to Louisiana. And somehow, no one caught his background.
It does appear that in this case, U.S. government was not able to conduct social media vetting on this individual prior to him being granted a visa and entering the United States.
According to FBI Supervisory Special Agent Alexandria M. Toman O'Donnell, the deception began there. As a result of that false application, Al-Muhtadi was able to obtain permission to travel to the United States and live here legally. The affidavit reads, by late summer 2025, agents say they had already been watching him.
And an FBI task force based here in New Orleans is credited with tracking down Al-Muhtadi.
A task force monitoring suspects connected to the October 7th kidnappings flagged his online activity. Old photos showing him in military fatigues with the red headband of the NRB and encrypted messages referencing the brothers in Rafah. To those around him, Al-Muhtadi appeared unremarkable, but to the Justice Department, he was a man who had helped coordinate fighters in a foreign terrorist operation, then lied his way onto American soil. Louisiana Governor Jeff Landry posted more bluntly on X, "Justice will be served." Perhaps this is Louisiana lockup's newest resident. But beneath the political noise, another question persisted. How did federal intelligence finally trace him here? And what were they looking for inside that house? The trail that led the FBI to Al-Muhtadi didn't start in Louisiana. It began with a data flag, a routine keyword alert inside the FBI's Counterterrorism Data Fusion Center in Quantico. Sources familiar with the investigation say that sometime in mid-2025, an encrypted messaging account linked to Gaza began showing activity in the southern United States. The messages referenced preparations and safe brothers abroad. At first, analysts thought it was just noise, leftover chatter from the 2023 conflict. But when the geolocation pinged repeatedly near Lafayette, they opened a new file. According to FBI Supervisory Special Agent, the task force cross-referenced the messages with travel and visa records. That's when they discovered a green card holder who had entered through Cairo months after the October 7th attack, using nearly identical personal data to an NRB-linked operative who appeared on an Israeli watch list. What followed was quiet, methodical surveillance.
And an FBI task force based here in New Orleans is credited with tracking down Al-Muhtadi.
Agents tracked his digital footprint, Telegram accounts, a Gmail login tied to a Gaza-based domain, and a small cryptocurrency wallet that sent irregular transfers to an exchange flagged for terror finance monitoring. They didn't move immediately. Instead, they built a map, where he shopped, who he called, which mosques or cafes he visited. An unsealed portion of the affidavit describes multiple meetings between Al-Muhtadi and an undercover FBI asset between July and September. During one of those encounters, according to court filings, Al-Muhtadi allegedly dismissed warnings that he was under watch. He said he could post whatever he wanted, even pictures of Hamas leaders, and he'd be safe, reads one FBI summary. By late September, agents had enough probable cause for a full search warrant. They coordinated the arrest with federal prosecutors, Louisiana State Police, and the Joint Terrorism Task Force. The warrant listed 3 targets: digital storage devices, foreign currency, and documents or notes referencing future actions on U.S. soil. That final line would become the heartbeat of the raid, the one that would later fuel headlines about a shocking plot uncovered in a Louisiana home. Because whatever the FBI expected to find, the contents of that house would tell a far more complicated story. When agents entered the Lafayette home, they were expecting routine evidence, maybe some propaganda materials. What they found instead forced an immediate lockdown of the scene. According to law enforcement sources familiar with the operation, the search team not only recovered multiple encrypted hard drives and foreign currency, but they also found a series of handwritten notes written in Arabic and English. The content of those materials has not been publicly disclosed. Neighbors watching from across the street recall seeing agents carrying out several sealed boxes, smaller than computers, heavier than documents. One was marked simply with the red tag used for classified evidence. By midday, the Bureau's mobile forensic lab had arrived from New Orleans. Technicians spent hours inside the garage before covering the windows with reflective sheeting. Whatever they were analyzing wasn't meant to be seen. Officially, the inventory list remains sealed under a protective order. Unofficially, sources close to the investigation describe high-value digital materials and references to coordination beyond U.S. borders. Still, the rest of the evidence painted an unnerving portrait. Encrypted files referencing Gaza contacts, digital maps of U.S. infrastructure downloaded from public sources. Individually, none of it proved intent. Together, it looked like someone obsessed with the world he'd left behind, or preparing for something far larger. By nightfall, the residence had been fully cleared, but the questions only deepened. Why was a man accused of fighting in one of the most brutal attacks of the century living quietly in Louisiana? And what exactly inside that house required federal agents to seal the evidence? Whatever was found, it was enough to elevate the case from immigration fraud to counterterrorism, and enough to ensure that, for now, the details stay buried behind black ink and federal silence. Within hours of the raid, the silence became its own message. The FBI refused to release photographs from inside the house. The Justice Department confirmed an arrest, but declined to list the evidence. In fact, every question asked about the case was met with the same phrase: ongoing national security investigation.
As for my ongoing investigation, there's not much I can say.
In Washington, that phrase carried weight. By midday, Attorney General Pam Bondi appeared at the Justice Department, flanked by counter-terror officials. She promised to protect the homeland of Israel from anyone who participated in the atrocities of October 7th. But when follow-up questions were asked about the evidence, she expertly sidestepped it, instead giving a vague answer about certain evidence needing to be analyzed under federal security protocols, so as not to compromise this investigation. That silence only fueled speculation. People were not satisfied. They parsed every word of the press release, wanting to know if the Lafayette discovery meant Hamas networks had reached American soil, but not everyone wanted it public. Former counter-terror officials warned that revealing details too soon could compromise intelligence channels overseas. Sources say if they've invoked national security classification, it means the discovery connects to something bigger, maybe ongoing operations abroad, but more likely, operations being plotted on U.S. soil. And so, the mystery deepened. For the public, the image remained simple: an unmarked house, a midnight raid, and boxes of evidence no one could describe. For Washington, it was a moment of leverage and fear, proof that threats could still cross oceans and slip quietly into small-town America. Whatever the truth inside those sealed boxes, the political machinery had already moved into motion, a mixture of victory lap and quiet panic, waiting for the next headline to break the silence. After the cameras left Lafayette, the case moved into federal courtrooms. Mahmoud Amin Yaqub al-Muhtadi was transferred under heavy security to the St. Martin Parish Correctional Center, where he remains in federal custody.
He's being held at the St. Martin Parish Correctional Center pending another court appearance slated for next week.
Court records show he faces 2 confirmed charges: visa fraud and providing false statements to obtain legal residency. But the real story, what's listed in the classified annex, has never been read aloud in court. At his first appearance, al-Muhtadi denied all allegations. He said he came to the United States to work and live peacefully.
Today in court, he repeatedly said that he was innocent and requested better jail accommodation.
Federal prosecutors moved to designate the case as a special security proceeding, a rare classification typically reserved for terrorism or espionage trials. In Washington, a senior Justice Department official told reporters that further charges are under consideration.
Although State Attorney General Liz Murrow indicated she believes the suspect should receive the death penalty if possible.
When pressed on whether those charges involve terrorism statutes, the official did not provide further details.
The FBI has declined to give any additional information on this case.
For now, the man accused of helping carry out one of the most infamous attacks in modern history sits in a Louisiana cell, awaiting a trial that may never be fully public, and somewhere in a secure facility, possibly in Quantico or Langley, the hard drives taken from his home remain under federal analysis. Whether they contain propaganda, communication logs, or something that links Louisiana to Gaza's battlefields, only a handful of people know, and none of them are talking. The federal silence is almost total. No photographs, no evidence list, just the promise that the materials seized concerned national security interests. It's the kind of phrase that can mean everything or nothing. Mahmoud al-Muhtadi may go down as one of two things: a hidden conspirator caught in time, or a man swallowed by the machinery of suspicion in a post-war age. What is clear as of now is that a man once accused of stepping across a border in war somehow stepped quietly across another into America. If you found this investigation insightful, hit subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss our next deep dive. Leave your thoughts below. Do you think the truth behind the Lafayette raid will ever be made public? Your voice keeps these stories alive.